Hello. In this clip, we're going to cover the term takt time and cycle time. Now, what are these terms? Let's explore them and understand why they are important for our production process. Takt time is the rate at which one needs to complete the production process to meet customer demand. And the equation for takt time is the net production time divided by customer demand. So this will let you know what is the maximum time that you will have to produce an unit in a production process. Now, what is cycle time? Cycle time is the time it takes to complete the production of one unit from start to finish. And the equation for cycle time is net production time divided by number of units produced. Now, this particular equation is simple and very easy to calculate, but if you want to solve production related issues and if you want to reduce bottlenecks in your process, this particular equation will not be as effective as you'd like it to be to solve your problems. So we'll see a different approach of finding cycle time. Remember, tech time is based on customer demand, whereas cycle time is work process based. We have to make sure that we have to come up with a cycle time that at least is equal to tech time. If it is not, then we will never be able to finish order in time. Okay, now let's see an example to calculate tech time and cycle time. This is a problem of a company called Structure Apparel, and it has received an order to make 900 pairs of high-end customized sneakers in 1 month for a distinguished automobile company. The company has 20 workers assigned for this job. The company runs 22 working days per month for 8 hours a day. What is the company's takt time for the task? Table below contains the time it would take for each process for making a pair of shoes. See this: cutting, they have about 1 hour; for sewing, 4 hours; and for finishing, they have about 2 hours. Calculate a structure's cycle time for this task. Will will it able to complete the order in time? So these are the questions that we have to answer. So let's just try to solve the problem. Now let's start calculating takt time for this problem. And the takt time formula is provided here. As you can see, it's net production time divided by customer demand. So let's figure out what's the net production time for the company here. And you can see the company has 20 workers assigned for the task, and they have 22 working days that month to complete the order, and they each worker work for 8 hours a day. So that will give the total number of hours that would be available to them to complete the task. And how many pair of shoes they have to finish? You can see the customer demand is 900. So what would be the take time? And if you calculate, the take time would be 3.911 hours. So that means the maximum time that each unit should take is about 3.911 hours. Anything more than that will not make the order complete in time. That now we have to check the cycle time and see whether the cycle time is actually less than this number or at least equal to this number 3.11. Because if it is not, then they cannot finish the order in time. Now let's continue to figure out how to calculate the cycle time here. You can see here each sticker has to go through three processes: 1 hour of cutting, 4 hours of sewing, and then 2 hours of finishing. So if that is the case, what would how much time the first unit will take to be produced? Let's see. The first unit will start with the cutting process. The first unit will enter the cutting process at 0 hour, and then it will take 1 hour to complete the process. Then the unit will move to the next process, that is sewing. It will enter sewing the first hour, and then it will come out of the sewing the fifth hour, because it will take 4 hours to complete the sewing process. Then the unit will enter the finishing process at the fifth hour, and it will come out at the seventh hour, since it will take 2 hours to complete this finishing process. But what will happen with the second unit? Let's see. In the case of second unit, the unit will enter the cutting tower at the first hour, and then it will come out from the cutting process the second hour. But for it to go through the sewing process, it has to wait, since the first unit would be there in the sewing process till the fifth hour. So once the first unit is out of the sewing process, the unit will enter the sewing process, and it will come out from the sewing process the ninth hour, and then it can immediately enter the finishing process at the ninth hour, since the first unit will be out of the finishing process at the seventh hour itself. And then another 2 hours will take for it to complete the finishing process. So you can see the time between the first unit and second unit is actually 4 hours. And this is the cycle time. Is the time between two finished items. Now let's start with this third unit. Now what will happen with the third unit? Let's check. So the third unit will enter in the cutting process at the second hour. It will come out from the cutting process at the third hour. It will enter the sewing process at the ninth hour, and it will come out of the sewing process at the 13th hour. It will enter the finishing process at the 13th hour, but it will come out of the finishing process at the 15th hour. Now, if that is the case, you can see the time between the second unit and the third unit is also 4. And this is what we call the cycle time. So each unit will take 4 hours on average to be completed. So if the company goes at this rate, will it be able to meet the customer demand? You can see the takt time is 3.911 hours. So what does it mean? Takt time means the maximum hour you can take to finish a unit. And the cycle time here is 4 hours. So that at this rate, the company will never be able to finish the customer demand in time. So the company needs some sort of changes here. And the good thing about this process of finding cycle time is you can actually identify where the bottlenecks are. Here in this process of structure, you can see the sewing is a bottleneck in the process, and if they can actually reduce the time here somewhat, then of course they might be able to actually complete the order in time. So Strukta can come up with some sort of changes here. They can add additional worker maybe, or if they divide the sewing process into two tasks maybe, then maybe it would be possible for them to finish the order in time too. So that's all we have for cycle time and takt time. Hope you understood the topic, and hope you have by now managed to solve the problem that was attached to this lesson. So thank you. See you next time. All the best.